about nothing. It's me, your boy, the hottest dude in the podcast game, Sebastian Conelli. And as always, per usual, we got the cute boy himself, Robbie boy. Robbie, say hello to beautiful people.
Beautiful people, I failed you. I'm sorry.
What do you mean?
I didn't read the book. I didn't do the assigned reading.
Robbie,
which is something I've done in my life. I was not...
For someone that says that how much they love school.
I did love school.
This is very surprising to me.
I didn't love homework.
That we couldn't... So, okay, you didn't love homework. But, here's the thing. All right, so you didn't do the reading. Did you...
But I did love reading for a certain time in my life, and then I lost it.
Don't do that, because that's just offensive.
What?
That's like me asking you to dance and be like, nah, I'm sorry, I don't want to dance. But I did used to like to dance.
I used to love to dance.
I used to love to. I would dance all the time. It was one of my favorite things to do.
Every single day.
So don't do that to me.
Okay, I'm sorry.
So you didn't do the reading.
I lost. I'll say this, which is not the nice thing. Not nice thing to say, but not the thing to say. But people were like, oh, it's not that good. Like the fourth one is good.
I heard the second one is good.
The second one gets better, and then like the fourth and fifth one get really good apparently. And that to me is just like, I don't want to read. It's annoying when somebody tells you to watch a TV show and they're like, it gets good season 2, season 3.
Yeah.
Like if it's not good in the first few episodes, I don't know.
Well, I guess for me, they had to do some setup.
For sure.
And they're definitely doing... Well,
I'll
talk about the book
I read
in a
3
second.
pages. I read 3
wait,
pages. They hopped right in. Also...
They do hop right in. Wait, but before you start talking about your experience with the book, you read 3 pages.
Yeah, 3 pages.
How many minutes do you think how many minutes effort were you able to give the Patreon people?
I'm sorry.
How many words do we think you read?
Not a lot. I will read it. I will read the book. I will read the whole book.
I will say that you probably read 400 words.
If that. Yeah, no, more than that, right? 3 pages.
Yeah, not.
I mean, they just hop right into it. I also am like, oh,
do hop. They hop right into an action
right into
scene.
it, and it's also in the first person, which I didn't understand. I didn't know. I thought it was gonna be like, I don't know, not in the first person.
It's from the perspective of the woman.
So I'm about to get fucked. That's what also I realized. Not me, but the voice. You
cannot say that's not why you stopped reading.
No, that's not why I stopped reading it.
Because you go, I was so scared to get fucked.
No. That's not why I stopped reading it. I will read this book, but I'm just saying I didn't know that was what it was.
Do you know how? All right, so you got thrown because it was in the first person.
I didn't. I got thrown by a bunch of people telling me it wasn't that good. The first book, a few things. And then we hop right into it. I didn't know it was about fairies either. I didn't know anything.
I didn't know anything either. But you know what I did?
What?
Read it.
You did read it.
I read the 10 chapters.
Yeah.
I read the 10 jam. You know why?
I'm sorry. I will read it.
Because we promised the audience that we were going to come here and do it.
I'm sorry. I will read it.
I talked to my sister.
What'd she say?
There's no way Robbie reads this.
Your sister listens to the podcast. She knows me.
She goes, there's no chance. I go, I know. There's no chance.
She knows me.
There's no chance. And I go,
I'll read it. I'll read it.
It was Saturday, my birthday.
I'm
like, I'm not going to pester him to remind him to read the book. I go, he doesn't
I had some time yesterday to read it. Well, all right, here. I went out till 6 a.m. on Saturday night, and I woke up at like 3 p.m. Sunday, which was my day to read the book. I gave myself a whole day to read. And then I was really hungover, and then I'm just like wasn't able to focus when I started reading it. And then I went out to go see my cousin play basketball, and I went to get pizza right after.
Pizza
and then I came
amateur
back,
basketball watching.
And I wanted to take an edible, and I'm high, and I'm like, can I read it high? It feels stupid to read it high.
If you could reading it high would have been better
than doing nothing.
Yeah,
I agree. I will talk about it, and I will catch up. I'm sorry I didn't do the reading.
I go, I don't want to bother him. In my head, I go, I don't want to be a pester. I'm sure that I go, I don't know if he's going to read. I didn't have high faith, if I'm being honest. No.
Okay.
I really did not think that you were going to read.
Okay. So I delivered.
No, but I don't want that to be this. I was
okay,
hoping.
You want to read. You want us to read.
I was hoping that you would read.
All right, so are we going to read the next one then, too?
No, I mean, I don't know. Let's do this one.
Okay. it was really disheartening to see, because I posted the picture of you, and so many people are like, oh, it doesn't get good till the second book. Then I'm like 3 pages in. I'm like, I got to do 500 pages of this to get to some action. And I saw somebody sent me like a screenshot from a good sex scene.
I don't accept this excuse, but we could talk about this. I don't accept this as an excuse. Why am I the professor all of a sudden? This was supposed to be us trying not to get boners.
And let me say,
all of a sudden, you're saying the dog ate my homework.
I watch porn that is like catered towards women sometimes. So I'm not opposed to it fully, but I was just like, oh, interesting.
My eyes might be permanently stuck rolled after that comment. We're gonna switch gears now, Rob. You're not in trouble anymore now because I took notes on the book.
Okay.
Court of Thorn and Roses, Sarah J. Maas. I love the dedication page for Josh because you would go under the mountain for me. I love you. Now, I'm assuming that's a reference to the book, later quote in the book. I hope that's not just like she calls herself the mountain. I hope Miss Moss, doesn't call herself the mountain that Josh goes under.
I would imagine that this is something that happens because of the capitalization.
I love you. I think that's nice. Nothing like writing a horny book for... and then dedicating it to someone you love. Now,
I didn't even look at the map. You looked at the map.
Now, let me say this, okay? When I opened the book and I saw that there was a map that it looked like I was about to read Lord of the Rings, I was disappointed.
Okay.
I was openly disappointed when I saw that there was a map like this. It looks like... it looks like England. You know what I mean? It looks like the UK.
That's kind of what I think.
I think that's what it's based on too, right? So it's like, oh, okay, I guess. And then I was like, okay, I like Game of Thrones a lot, so maybe I will like this stuff.
I'm gonna look up where she's from.
Who?
Sarah Moss.
Excuse me.
American, but people love. Born in New York City.
Born in New York. Could use a couple more Tims in this book.
Okay.
So this book, I'll start. One, I will say this. It's an easy read. It's a very easy read, which I was surprised about. But then I thought about it for a second. Of course it's an easy read.
Yeah, people are rereading it.
It's an easy read because it's trash.
It's trash?
I talked to my sister about this, and she's like, no one reads hard books. She goes, when people read, most of the reading level is pretty low.
Yeah. My mom used to read a lot, and it was like John Grisham books.
Those books are easy.
Yeah, very easy to read.
You're not like stumbling upon words that are don't know.
Yeah.
No one's reading the Canterbury Tales.
Yes.
People are reading books that are fun and light. And I guess I either read nonfiction, which is like you think about it a lot, or like classic stuff. And so I'm not used to books that are just like
super easy to read.
Very easy to read.
Okay.
Sorry. That was one of the things I wrote down. I was surprised about.
Okay.
So I start this book, and I'll tell you this.
What?
When you know a book's going to be horny, I'm reading into everything that is horny.
Okay.
So the first chapter is she's like hunting.
Yes.
She's hunting. She's out in the woods. She's hunting, right? And
do we know her name?
We find out later.
Okay. Farrah. Okay.
Yeah. There we go.
I didn't get that far.
I know.
I will read it though. I will read it. I do feel bad. Shaming works.
Here's the thing. Stop saying I will read it now. Because now we need to talk about it.
We'll actually talk about it.
Right?
She's hunting in the first chapter, Farrah.
She's hunting in the first chapter, right?
Okay.
Which was something that I was like, is hunting horny? Like, is a woman hunting? Like, she was hunting for a deer, a fawn, right? She sees a fawn and this giant wolf then starts creeping up to attack the fawn. And she's like staring at it. And the way that she's describing this wolf is very... I'm like getting turned on by stuff I shouldn't be getting turned on to because I'm told it's a sexy thing.
Okay.
It's like...
Interesting.
It's like if you're like, I'm watching a porno and there's like a long lead up.
I love the lead up.
That's I think what's happening. I'm like, there's moments where there's words that like, a shudder skittered down my spine. I'm like, is that sexy?
For sure. I think also, like, we've talked about this, that one of like if we were to go on a date, say with someone that we really wanted to impress, that a fun thing to do would be go to try to find blue herons in the park. And I think like there's something, the last time I went to go find blue herons, I'm like going beyond the park's like boundaries, going over like a little fence, like having to creep and be real quiet. And there's like an anxiety around like stealthily chasing a wild animal that I think is kind of sexy, and like we have acknowledged in the past of like getting really close to a giant beautiful bird.
We got to be quiet.
Yeah.
The tension.
High stakes. Adding tension and stakes, yes.
Something could happen at any second.
Yeah.
Any second, we our lives could be gone.
Yeah.
And that was the theme I learned in this book, is that women do like to play with this idea that men, like someone could destroy them at any second.
Okay. Yeah.
Which was something that was like, I'll talk about this idea later as we continue this this horny book club right here.
Yeah.
But that like, I think it was like that he could be she could be destroyed by this wolf was a very titillating.
Yeah. Well, there's we just kind of talked about this in the main episode of, you said you were chasing a rush. Women chase rushes too, I would say, and maybe they're told not to. They were like more socialized to play it safe. Then men are like the risk takers or the whatever, and it's like no, it's for everything.
It's a different risk that they're taking, right? But also, I know plenty of women that were would take drugs for the risk and stuff like that, or stay out late, or get in trouble with the police. You know?
Yeah.
It was interesting to me. So one, at one point I go, "Are wolves hot?"
Are wolves hot?
And that was a question I really had.
Okay.
Are wolves hot?
Yeah.
I think they are. Imagine a dog that you love, but bad.
Okay.
Imagine a bad boy dog, someone that's loyal, faithful, but could tear you from limb to limb.
Okay. Are the wolves, can they speak?
No. Well, I'll get there. It wasn't a wolf. It was a fairy all along.
Okay.
Right?
Oh, interesting.
So she's like going to kill this deer because she's providing for her whole family, right? She's going to kill the deer. She pulls back, and a giant wolf comes there, and she goes, "Is that a fairy that looks like a wolf, or is that an actual wolf?"
Okay.
And she goes, "It's worth the risk. Let me shoot him with my ash arrow, which is one of the only arrows that could kill fairies."
Oh wow.
So she pulls back and she shoots him with the ash arrow, and then the wolf looks at her with his deformed eye, staring at her, and he shoots her right through the eye. She shoots him right through the eye, and the wolf dies. And then she skins the wolf.
Okay.
And then she brings back the skin, the pelt of the wolf, and then brings back the fawn of the deer, the fawn that the wolf attacked. So that's basically the first chapter.
And the wolf was a fairy.
We don't find that out until a little bit later.
Okay, so that's not like a magic thing that you can find out immediately when it dies. It doesn't regress.
No. It was a wolf. She was able to skin it.
Okay.
Skin the actual fur to be able to sell.
Okay.
So, and I was like, killing a wolf was hot. Grunting against the weight, I grasped the legs of the deer.
Okay.
Right? So here's the thing. When you know, the idea of future makes the present horny.
Because you know it's going to be horny eventually. I see.
So chapter 2, we get to go home with her.
Okay.
Right? Everything made me horny. My knees shaking, my hands stiff from clenching the legs of the deer. I go utterly numb.
She used the numb almost immediately, too.
She's descriptive.
Yes.
And that's something I'm learning. Like, descriptive stuff is hot.
Very hot. In everything. Being specific is a good thing.
I just wasn't expecting. So we get to the house, and there's this archetype that is in a lot of stories geared towards women, which is a weak father. She's a father that can't do anything.
Yeah.
Just think about Beauty and the... So this ends up... I feel like it's going to end up becoming Beauty and the Beast.
A little bit.
Right? So... But the father's weak. Think about other stories where the father isn't there or weak for like this female protagonist.
Oh. Interesting.
Like, she needs to take care of the family.
Yes.
Cinderella, there's no father, and she takes care of the family.
Yeah.
Snow White, there's no father.
Yeah.
And she has to go provide for herself in the woods.
Yeah.
There's a lot of this, like, horniness that in these books that women are still like, but I fucking show up and I take care of business.
Yes.
And a lot of these early chapters are her being like, look at all the shit I could do.
Yeah.
She's like, she talks about how hard she works. I guess so that we're like, she deserves dick. That's what I was thinking.
Okay.
Like she does everything.
Yeah.
She does, and she shows up at home. And here's another archetype that I've also noticed that are in female-centric, like women-centric books.
Yeah.
Or like geared towards women.
Yeah, I'm thinking Katniss doesn't have a father, I don't think.
It's interesting.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's also this archetype of two annoying sisters.
Okay. That is an archetype.
That's an archetype.
Yes.
That the protagonist has a weak father and annoying sisters.
Yeah. Interesting.
Right?
That's the family life.
That's the family life, is that the father's weak and can't do anything, and she even like he like pretends that he could do these carvings that are magical, but she's like, they're not real. I don't have the heart to tell them.
Okay.
And the two sisters just want everything. She shows up with the deer and stuff, and they didn't even chop wood.
She's the alpha. By a long shot.
But she's quiet and not like forceful about it.
Okay.
Her mother guilted her. Her mother, when she was dying, was like, take care of the family.
Okay.
Which was very rude of the mother.
That is interesting.
She talks about how her father became weak.
Okay.
About how he was like, someone stormed in and attacked him and hurt him.
Okay.
And
he
then
wasn't born this way.
No.
Of course.
Of course.
Men are strong.
He was wronged by the mortals.
Okay.
Right? Because
she's not immortal.
She is immortal. So
okay.
There's mortals and family and fairies.
Okay.
And she's in the mortal realm, and the fairies would do horrible things to the mortals. And so there's like a divide between, we don't like the fairies and we don't the mortals, but there's like a treaty between the two of them to not attack each other.
Okay.
So they live separately.
So she just broke the treaty.
We don't know that.
We don't know.
We'll get
in
to
chapter
that.
2. Okay. I guess because I'm guessing that she's eventually going to be submissive.
Well,
and that you're building up. It's not a weak woman that wants to be submissive. This is a girl boss that wants to be submissive. That's what it is. I see.
She can't. We need her. We need to be like, she's strong. That we could. Women, I think it's like they want to. They are strong.
Of course.
But they want someone that will let them be weak.
Yes. Everybody wants to be. I think men want to be weak sometimes too.
I do too.
I mean, this is what men, the stereotype of mothers take care of their sons, like women just take care of the man. That's the man being weak.
Yes.
Not making his own food, not cleaning.
Well, even being emotionally weak, even more than like food stuff.
Yeah.
Like I think making food is like a small gesture compared to like holding emotional weight. Yes. And how many times you see like a woman sitting there and a man's head in her lap and she strokes his head.
Yeah. Which is an amazing feeling. I dream about that feeling.
So but that's also after he does things. You know?
Yes.
We should all. Our dream is that we're allowed to be. We're strong and tough for the world because it's hard and we need to get stuff done. But we find someone that could allow us to be weak.
Yes. And emotional. I love that.
So one thing I wasn't expecting was to hear about how she soiled her pants and threw up before we got any horny action.
Okay, so she shit herself.
She shits herself.
Okay. Relatable.
I'm just a girl.
Yes, that's what that is.
I'm just a girl. My daddy's getting beaten and I shit myself.
During the dad getting beaten.
She got so upset that she shit herself.
Yeah.
Now that's love.
That is love.
I don't know. I was in the hospital. My mom didn't shit herself.
I mean...
Here's the thing. I want to talk horny, but there's not much to talk horny about yet. One thing that I thought was funny was they said they were so poor they couldn't even drink tea. They had to just drink hot water and pretend it was tea.
Okay, that's really poor.
That's like
because you would think you could find something in the wild to spice up the tea a little bit.
Yeah.
Even some grass at a certain point.
A couple dandelions.
Yeah, do something.
And so one of the sisters wants to get married. Both the sisters are so annoying to her.
What makes them annoying?
They're rude.
Okay.
Entitled.
Okay.
Mean.
Entitled and poor is tough.
Well, she wants to be married, and so it's this age of where people were given dowries for marriage.
Okay.
So, like, if to take on a woman is to marry a woman is a responsibility. That's adding to the amount of food that needs to be at your table.
So
that's why the
woman's family would pay the man's family.
Yeah, you would give like a cow or a sheep to be like, oh, see, you're gonna have to take care of her, but this is how I'm gonna help you provide.
Okay.
I think that's why dowries were first around.
And now the current version of that is the woman's parents pay for the wedding.
I mean,
that tradition.
Even that's fading.
Yeah.
Thank God.
Yeah.
Because that's not fair.
No.
Unless you marry me.
Yeah.
No, I'm kidding. I don't even want a big wedding ever. So, and she's like, the stepsister's begging, being like, no, you don't understand. And he's like, she's like, they can't handle you. Don't be realistic about this. And the father says something. He goes, he says to his daughter, maybe. And the Pharaoh looks at the dad, why would you say that to her? And she goes, sometimes we need hope.
So what happened?
The sister, the evil sister, those annoying sisters begging, being like, I want to marry this man. We should set up this marriage.
And the dad says maybe.
Yes. And Pharaoh is like, no, we can't. Why would you tell her that?
Oh, and she just needs a little hope.
Father says sometimes what we need is hope.
Okay. I like that.
And I go, that's so beautiful.
Yes.
Because sometimes we do need to lie.
Yes.
Like to keep hope alive. These are poor people that live in a cottage that can't eat.
Yes.
Sometimes we need to go, maybe you can marry them.
Yes.
So, but this was like a lot of just a family drama, and I'm like my dick is out, so nothing. I'm not.
You're reading this dick out.
I'm soft. I'm using my dick as the line, as the bookmark.
It's
this is why horny. I didn't want a hard copy because
apparently it's not horny. The first book.
No, it's not. I understand. I mean, I understand why. I don't understand why you didn't read, but as I was reading, I did feel duped.
Okay.
I go, why am I fucking reading this?
That's how I felt, I guess. 3 pages.
You read 3 pages,
but I'm gonna read it more. I'm gonna read it more.
So they go to the third day. They go to the market. The chapter 3. They go to the market. Yada yada. They're doing all the market stuff, right? And I was thinking, it's like, a market's awesome.
Yeah.
Markets are incredible. Even back in the day when they're like Sundays were filled with all the vendors. Yes. You could bring stuff, sell it, buy it. I'm like, even back in the day, the market was the spot to be.
Yeah.
I hope markets never die.
100%.
Because
it was funny how it was like all the rage when Smorgasbord was in Williamsburg in like the early stages.
Yes.
And people would come all over from like Jersey. People would come for the day just to go to Smorgasburg, and there was like, so I'm taking the L and I'm going to Brooklyn. It was like a big, like 2014, 2013, I'm talking.
Yeah.
But it's a tale as old as time. Just having a market and a place where people should gather and sell different tchotchkes.
And you can walk from one thing to another.
What's personal to you? It's always, the first scene of Aladdin.
The things I would buy at a market are, I would buy a necklace at a market before I would at Target.
Yes, 100%.
Like,
same.
Like, and that's the thing that I don't think these big brands understand.
No.
Is that like, I'm not going to buy like something like there's stories behind every market seller.
Yes, which is nice.
There's not stories behind these giant institution and stores.
And I think people like a story.
That's why we love the market.
Yes.
That's even why we like flea markets where you're buying crap.
I used to love the flea market. It was so cool.
So I was like, oh, this is cool. And as they're going to the market, there's all these religious people that love fairies.
Okay.
That are like yelling at them, talking to them, right? Which I was like, and everyone's like, oh, get them away from us.
Fairy is a religion.
Well, they still praise the fairies
as
like a religious kind of. They were wearing all white. It felt very like
mortals who are praising fairies. So there's not a ton of fairies.
Well, the fairies live above the wall.
Okay.
So we don't know.
Oh, okay.
We know nothing really about them.
Okay.
Except that they were evil to mortals.
Okay.
And it's just funny to me that even in this book, it's like religion's bad. Get these kooks out of here.
Yeah.
Get these kooks out of here. Things start heating up a little bit when a big woman was introduced.
Okay.
She was massive, even sitting down. I felt so seen.
Okay.
I felt like all of a sudden there was like this large like hunter woman that was there to buy her goods. Queer coded, right?
Okay.
And I was like, I'm about this.
Okay.
Because the ways that she was like describing her, and she killed fairies. This woman, she was like a hunter. And it was funny because all these people were cruel, and like it felt like she was having a hard time. And all of a sudden, this like big woman overpaid her for the wolf fur.
Oh.
And she's like, I'm returning the service because someone once was kind to me. I was like, yes, finally, women helping women.
Yes,
right.
We love
this
that.
Is like I am reading this book as like the perspective of how women feel reading this.
Yes,
Because this is more geared towards women.
Yes.
So I did love that. I was like, we need to help each other. Someone once was kind to me, and now I'm being kind to you.
Someone was kind to the
bigger woman.
The bigger woman. And that was, she wanted to, who, do you learn about that story where someone was kind to her?
No.
Okay.
That was just like.
She's just saying, I want to pay it forward.
I mean, we might in the future, but not.
And she also has a use for, like, she'll wear this wolf skin fur while she's hunting.
Yes, it's useful, but she overpaid by a lot.
Okay.
And even.
To help Farrah.
Farrah was like, can I do anything? Can I help? And she's like, no. And she like, Farrah was like, that's not fair. Let me give you something else.
Okay.
She's like, I need nothing else. I want to be kind to you.
That's nice.
I thought it was beautiful.
That is beautiful.
And that's a good. The big lady is helpful.
Great representation.
I loved it, and also it was like it was the first moment of like her like looking at someone and describing them a little bit.
Okay.
And then all of a sudden she goes, this guy Isaac's staring at her, and I guess we're gonna learn fairy sex is so much better than mortal sex because she goes, yeah, me and Isaac used to have sex in the barn.
Okay. Isaac's immortal.
Yes.
Okay.
There's no fairies introduced
no descriptors.
No
nothing,
descriptors. No. She goes, it was rushed.
Not even worth talking about.
It was rushed and quick, but it felt good.
And now he's staring at her.
Yeah. And then they went off to go have sex, and they cut away from it. They cut away from it.
Okay, wow.
Which is such a tease. For me, I'm chapter 3. I go,
finally, there's some sex.
Finally, we're going to get some sex talk. She goes, yeah, Isaac, it was quick, but it felt passionate. We barely talk.
Okay.
Barely talk. That's how you knew it was no good.
Yeah.
Right? It was what she needed.
Yes.
And she was also using protection.
Okay.
She made that clear.
Okay. There's protection in this world.
Because one of the sisters goes, you should be careful with him. She goes, I use protection.
Okay.
I'm like, good for you, queen.
I love that.
But I was so disappointed when sex is introduced. That's why I was like, mortal sex must be so bad.
Okay.
That
makes sense.
It's not even worth describing.
Yeah.
Wait till we get to how these fairies fuck.
Okay.
So basically, this fucking book's all plot. Then the fairy bursts into. She goes home. She has all the money. A fairy bursts into their home, and goes basically a giant wolf creature kind of man, with claws that could tear them all apart, and being like, "One of you killed a fairy. Who did it?" And she steps up. And I'm like, oh, fuck, this is Beauty and the Beast at this point.
Okay.
Because it's this giant creature man. Who killed her? Right?
Yeah,
screaming.
Yeah.
And she's like, I'm going to say I did.
Okay.
And because she admits to it, he goes, I could do one of two things. I could kill you now, or you could come live with me in my mansion.
Okay. So it is fully Beauty and the Beast.
Well, he says, you have to come live in Perinthian or whatever.
Yeah.
What's the name of the place?
Perinthian. I thought that's where they were originally.
Above the wall. He goes, either you come with me and live above the wall with the fairies, or, it's Perinthian.
Holy shit. Okay, so Mortal Lands is below the wall.
Yes.
But this is a different map. So this is like a zoom in map of this.
Yes.
I see. So this is not a lot of real estate given to the mortals.
No.
Almost all of the land is fairyland.
Yes.
Okay. I see this now.
So
I thought this was like its own island, and then you cross the sea into this fairyland. I'm seeing now what this is.
Great.
And everything above is called Perinthian.
Yes. So he's like, either I could kill you now, or you come live with me in Perinthian.
Okay. Are any mortals wealthy?
Yes.
Okay, there are mortals.
Yeah, there's wealthy mortals, right? It's like our civilization.
Okay.
And it's such a fantasy for someone to be like,
someone's gonna take me out of my reality.
For a
and
big
go to fairyland.
Beast of a man burst through the door. An animal. I could kill you, or I could give you everything.
Yes. A new life.
Yeah. And one thing, one quote, I was like, oh, this is Beauty and the Beast. And so she's going to go. She's taking the L for the whole family, right? Okay. And she turns to the sister that wants to get married. And she goes, you shouldn't marry him. And I love this, that she said that. She goes, because she's like, you shouldn't marry into that family. The mother has bruises all over her. Poverty is easier to hide than bruises. I was like, fuck, those are bars.
Yeah, that is a bar.
Those are fucking bars.
Yeah.
Because that's true.
Yeah.
That's good to remember. Like, don't just marry someone for money.
Yeah.
Like, truly, if you want to marry someone, marry them for for the love that they're going to give you.
Yeah.
Right?
Poverty is easier to hide than bruises. That is a bar.
I fucking wrote that down. I was
that's
tremendous.
a good quote.
So chapter 5, it's a quick chapter. They're on the journey to Corinthian.
Okay.
And she's trying to make small talk, and he doesn't want to talk.
Okay.
Because what do we learn? Quiet men are sexy.
Yes, of course.
Quiet men are sexy.
This is a Shrek of it all too.
And this book is. Thank you. I love that. Yeah, he's not having any time.
Yeah, he doesn't want to talk to Fiona.
If Shrek was needy,
yeah,
there would never be a story.
Shrek's not. Yeah, of course.
Fiona's never looking at Donkey twice.
No, exactly. Donkey's the needy one.
Well, the only reason why Donkey and Dragon's relationship work is because Dragon's the needy one.
Yeah.
Dragon's the needy one in that.
Yeah, 100%.
Right?
Interesting. I guess this is all the same genre. Shrek, Beauty and the Beast.
No, Shrek is an American classic.
Well, right? Is Beauty and the Beast not a?
You're right. So
they're playing within that realm, right? Shrek is like.
Yes, you're right.
Ode to.
You're right.
That's why they have all the fantasy characters.
I'll allow it. I'll allow it.
So this is This is like a hornier version of all this stuff.
And then they show up. Finally, chapter 6. They show up. The house is gorgeous.
Okay.
He's just a millionaire.
Okay.
He has a land. He has gardens.
Okay.
Everything is gorgeous.
Back to Beauty and the Beast.
Back to Beauty and the Beast. She shows up. He goes, sit. You need to eat. And one rule is if you run away, if you try to go back to the mainlands, I'll go there and I'll kill you and your family instantly.
Okay.
So it's like, don't run away. And also another rule is you don't need to live. She doesn't need to live in the mansion with him.
Oh.
So that's a big theme. It's like, am I your prisoner? No, you can leave here anytime you want. I'm trying to keep you safe from the other fairies.
Okay.
So he's like, I'm a good fairy.
Why? Yeah. Why does he want her there?
Well, because that's one of the rules, and he feels bad. It comes.
He was supposed to kill her.
No, it's either bring them back or kill her. And so why he's like, I guess, protecting her was because she didn't know that was a fairy.
Oh.
And so he's like sympathizing that was a mistake.
Yeah.
I don't want to hurt her. So even though he's this evil creature, fairies that were cruel to mortals.
Yes.
He's a good one.
So he brought her back.
I mean, it's that archetype of being the nice man, the golden boy in the gang.
Yeah.
That's what he is.
Yes.
Like to be a part of an evil thing but be kind,
yeah.
I guess it's hot.
Yes.
Right?
A Bronx Tale.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right? So also he shows up to the house, instantly he goes from like this wolf creature, attractive man with long hair.
Okay. He's not longer a wolf.
No longer. He's able to shapeshift.
Okay.
So he becomes a man with like this hot long hair and just has this mask. They all have masks because there was a spell cast on all these fairies, which we'll get to.
Because they have ugly faces?
We'll get to in the future.
Okay.
Right? But it's so funny to me that it's like he's this wolf, he's this beast in the streets, and then at the dining room table, long, luscious hair, full body.
Very
right?
Beauty and the Beast coded.
It's also very like.
And Shrek does this too.
You want it all.
Yeah.
Also, it's like so like, a woman could have it all. He could be a monster outside, scary, and then you show up to he's super rich, has a mansion, and then you show up.
You're giving it
and
everything.
He's so handsome.
Yeah, you might as well give him everything.
Everything.
Interesting. So they're in Fairyland, and does he have to hide her, or mortals not supposed to be in Fairyland, or it's known that all mortals are prisoners if they're there?
Mortals can roam freely. It's just fairies are dangerous to mortals.
Okay.
Mortals, they
you could just get killed
abused.
at any moment. Okay.
So why would any mortals go?
Yeah.
But in the next chapter, there was something that I thought that you would love. Well, also it's like a theme of just feeding someone is sexy.
Okay.
Right? Food is hot.
It is hot.
I saw this study that like, if you take a person out to dinner, they're more likely to associate you with like horny feelings.
Interesting. They've said that certain foods are horny, but I've never
just the idea
heard
of feeling
all that.
Satisfied.
Yeah.
There's been like studies that it makes you hornier.
I could see that.
Maybe not immediately after if you're eating garbage fettuccine Alfredo, but like in the long run, you know?
Yeah, I could see that.
This in chapter 7 was something that I think that you would relate to.
Okay.
So now this ferryman, he has a hard time complimenting her.
Okay.
And that is something that is charming about him.
Okay.
He'll stuff like, your hair looks pretty and clean. like stumbles through compliments. Okay. So I do think that your naivete with compliments is attractive.
Yes. Some people, I've heard, like some guys give 0 compliments.
Which
also, so then me, even my bare minimum, I feel like ends up being charming, is what I've been told.
Can I tell you what it is?
What?
To stumble through a compliment is almost like you never give compliments, but they're so special that you need to try to give a compliment.
Yes.
And that you're in an uncomfortable realm.
Yes. I see that.
Because someone that's good at giving compliments, you compliment everyone.
Yeah.
Someone that is like stumbling through a compliment, it's like you're making them feel very special.
Okay. And what if you're always stumbling through compliments? You're manipulative?
I mean, this is where the problem. This is when you need to give a disclaimer.
Yeah.
This is where the asterisk has to come into play, Rob.
Yeah.
Right? Also, we find out. So all of a sudden, this guy is just getting hotter and hotter. So we find out that this fairy that took her, she's like, they're like arguing. And she's like, my family, they can't survive without me. And he goes, I've taken care of your family and I'm providing for them.
How?
He doesn't tell us how.
Okay.
We don't know how yet. But all we know is that he did something to make sure that her family is able to survive without her.
Okay.
This guy is the dream.
He must be attracted to her.
I mean, yes.
Do they describe her? Do we know what she looks like yet?
Well, this is something that blew my mind. In the next chapter, we find out a little bit about her. That blew her mind, I'll tell you.
So they're having like a little, finally they can be vulnerable enough to like have a meet cute situation.
Yeah,
learn about each other a little bit.
He gets like jealous of, be like, he asks her, be like, did you have a man down there? And she's like, that's what you want to ask me?
Yeah,
you know? And then like, so it is like this.
So she feels confident enough to like,
she's speaking
rebuttal a little bit. Yeah. Interesting. What's the song? Is it Belle? The song where they're doing this, where they're like kind of learning about each other.
I don't know the name. How's it go?
Beauty and the Beast. I forget how it goes. They're like, because the Beast will sing and then Belle will sing. I thought we were talking about how it's one of the best songs.
She Beauty and the Beast. This way. I thought I saw. No, but that's when they're in love already.
Oh, really?
That's when they're like talking about how they're in love.
Where they're like starting to.
Yes, they're not
something
at that
there.
Point yet.
Something there.
They're not at that point.
Right?
Yet.
Is that the song? Yeah, this is it. Okay, so they're feeling each other out even more. It's not necessarily because he's giving her a compliment that makes me feel like it was that.
And she's like, it's so weird that he couldn't give the compliment but stumbled through it.
Yeah.
So I think that is something that is people. I mean, I'm learning about what women find attractive through this book.
Okay.
This is the positive of reading something like this, right?
Which I feel like you know most of this.
Not some, but I'm learning a little.
You're learning, okay.
I need to be a little more rougher in the streets and a little more sensitive, more quiet.
Okay, I would not take the book as a Bible. I thought you have like a character that you do sometimes. That is that.
I think, we'll see. I got
that plays in that realm.
It's been so long.
Okay. You have lost access to the character.
Yeah. And then we find out that this guy's even protecting her from his own kind. That he's told everyone in the house, like, don't touch her. I'm here to protect her.
So there's people in his house,
servants and stuff
that are
like
fairies.
That. Yes.
Everyone that serves him is a fairy. And
so we find out she's a little skinny, tiny. You could see her ribs. She's so thin, and she's 19 years old.
Okay.
That's
an interesting reveal.
That was very interesting.
Because they don't. Prior to this, I'm not thinking that.
And
she's the she's the hunter, all the things, whatever. But that makes sense. I guess she's poor. She can barely afford food. If they can't afford tea, then that makes more sense.
And you know what the workaround that they do is?
What?
He's immortal. I'm tired of books being like,
yeah.
And he goes, well, I'm not that old. He makes like a joke, I'm not that old. And I'm just like,
oh, how old is he?
We don't know. But he's immortal. He's lived for a while.
They could have made her 23.
It's crazy to me that they couldn't hit a 2.
Yeah. The difference between 19 and 23.
It's just comfort.
Yes.
It's just
for the reader. It's not going to change that much for the reader, but it's a little better.
It's a little better.
Yeah, for sure.
I couldn't believe that. I'm like, great. Now I'm going to have to read a book about a 19-year-old getting fucked.
Yeah. That's when you were like, what am I doing?
100. I had a couple of what am I doing moments, but when she said she's 19, I wrote down 19 exclamation points.
Yeah, that's young. That's young.
And he says to her, "You're so young and so brave and such a skilled killer already." I'm like, what is now? This is creepy.
Yeah.
I was like, why are we adding this young aspect into it?
Yeah.
But it was nice that they start like learning about each other.
Okay.
Then we find
this is interesting.
What?
Old man who looks really young. Because he has the old
and
soul
that's what Twilight
and old
is.
Spirit. Yeah, that is what Twilight is.
That's what
too.
all these vampire movies are.
Yeah.
That like prey on
They're
young women.
300 years old, but he's hot and young.
Why do women love this?
I don't know.
That's a question for me.
That is a question too.
Right, because these are
they don't want somebody who's physically old.
This book is just slamming like tropes.
Okay.
Trope.
Seems like that.
Right?
Yeah.
But so next chapter they go out. She's with another one of the fairies, and she's like, she wants to convince him to, like a plan for her to leave. You know,
Okay.
she's like still looking for an escape. So she's like, I'm gonna go talk to that other fairy that he's friends with, and the other fairy goes, how about you come on a hunt with me? We have to look at the perimeter of our grounds.
Okay.
And that's when they get introduced to the bog people.
Bog people?
Yes.
Okay.
Which is just this like essence that comes around them, and they need to stare straight forward and not react or look at anything, or else the bog person will kill both of them. Even the other fairy is powerless over it.
Okay.
And she gets past the bog people. And also, this other fairy says a line that I don't think belongs in a book like this. The other fairy goes to her and goes, Farrah, you got some balls. And I guess that's supposed to be one of the characters. I guess why he has that line is like, oh, I don't want Farrah to end up with this fairy.
Okay.
I'm thinking.
Interesting.
Right?
So you got some balls.
Also, I'll tell you this.
He's just negging a little.
I'm 80 pages in.
Yeah.
There was more sex in the Julia Fox book that I just read.
I would imagine. That's another reason why I was like, it took me this long to pick it up. Because I picked it up yesterday for the first time. Because I got a lot of feedback that it wasn't what we were going to think it was going to be.
So then they go back. They go, the main fairy guy goes, anything interesting happened on your hunts? And she's like, no. And then finally they say the bog person. And he goes, where was the bog person? And he goes, I'll take care of it. In chapter 10, he's going, he goes, I'll go kill the bog person. Where was it?
Okay.
And he leaves and storms out to go kill the bog person. And Farrah looks at the other fairy being like, I thought you said that you couldn't kill the bog person. And he goes, I'm not a strong enough fairy to do that, but he is.
Okay.
And then she gets so turned on. She goes, oh my God, I can't believe that he has that much strength and can destroy me at any moment, but chooses not to.
Okay. Of course, he can kill her.
So the amount, yes, of that he is the most powerful.
One of the most powerful, or the most? Do we know that?
We don't know.
Yet? Okay.
Right? But that he is so powerful that he can destroy.
She learns there's levels to this fairy shit.
And also that she's dealing with someone that like
high level fairy.
A high level that could literally, and the fact that he does it makes her feel so seen.
Yes.
Also, another thing about all this I didn't mention was they all are wearing masks on their face because there was a spell that went over them that like permanently put masks on their face because they're disformed.
Okay.
So they have disformed faces.
Okay.
And
so
I'll tell you this,
of the opera.
a Phantom of the Opera, a scar is always hot on a guy.
Yeah.
It is kind of like someone made a checklist of all
a lot
the hot
of different things. Okay.
And I read 100 pages and
You
didn't
did.
get a single ounce of horniness.
Yeah. Well, that's another thing that made me deterred a little bit. But I think I'll probably start where you just left. You did an incredible job explaining.
I'm exhausted.
That is exhausting.
And I
How
just
long did
wanted
it take you to read?
I did it over a course of days.
Okay.
I go, okay, let me read 2 chapters. Let me read a chapter.
Yeah. I will pick it up. I'm sorry. I apologize.
I just was expecting so much horniness that it was quite like at the beginning it was like, ooh, this is gonna happen.
And it hasn't.
I almost felt like I was on a date with you when I'm sitting in the car for 3 hours. The first 20 minutes I'm excited.
I am that.
And now I'm just fucking pissed.
I am that.
You are a quarter thorn and roses.
I am that in a lot of ways. Not the strength and can kill somebody, but it might take some. There's going to be so much tension by the time we actually make out.
That's what it is.
That it will be a release.
Well, I'm really hoping that this next chunk we get some, because I was hoping to do some. This is not what I wanted to do.
Okay.
This felt like It's
You're
a
reading.
movie with a sex scene in it. I want porn.
Okay.
The next book we choose has to be porn,
Okay.
Robbie.
I love that. We need to make that a clip.
I want porn.
This
book isn't porn. This book would be PG-13.
Yeah. 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 This was the feedback I got because we got 65 likes on the story. People DMing me all this shit. People were very excited to talk to me about it, and they were like, "That was the feedback," which made me less excited to go home and read it. It then was like, "Oh, this is gonna be more homework than like porn."
A book I wouldn't read.
Yeah.
So far.
So did you talk? Do you talk to your sister about it when you saw? Because she's read it.
Yeah.
She's read all of them.
Yeah.
And what does she think?
She used to read a book a day.
That's crazy.
So she reads this book in a day.
Okay.
She's like a fast reader.
Yeah.
She also would read.
My mom read 2-3 books a week.
Yes. People slam books.
Yeah.
So like to read 10 chapters for a normal person is like, who cares?
Yeah.
For me, it was challenging.
It was challenging for me too.
Don't even. I'm gonna read.
Okay.
So we can't do.
So there's nothing to even read that would be exciting for. That's what it also felt like. We needed to probably read the whole book in order. I think there is eventually, but I got sent one of the best sex scenes, a page of it from the 5th book, and they're like, "This is when it really turns up," and it was like, "Oh, this iconic sex scene in the 5th book." I'm like, I don't know if I have 5 books in me to get to, and it wasn't even that.
Well, maybe
it wasn't even that hot.
Well, now we have to read till chapter 21, up to chapter
21.
So through chapter
20.
Through 20 up to 21.
What page is that?
That's 188.
Okay, I can do that. I'm sorry. I should be shamed. I'm going to go home tonight and read some chapters. You did an excellent job.
Not horny. I'm sorry. I hope that some people read it. I hope that it just gave us insight on what women build up, though, for women, what at least this woman, Sarah J. Maas, wants. Also, if I was dating someone, what?
It's funny. You're like, this is just what this woman wants.
It is
Sarah
what this
J.
woman.
Maas.
I'll tell you this.
Whatever this is.
Imagine if I'm Josh, I'm reading this book and taking more notes than I did.
Yeah. For sure.
I'm letting my nails grow long.
I don't know what. Yeah, I don't know. I wonder where the inspiration is. I don't think you could look too deeply into that.
I would.
You would? It seems like she's really borrowing from a lot of other already existing tropes that have been part of media forever.
I'll tell you this. I see Sarah J. Maas at Disney World. I go, you're kicked out, babes.
Yeah. Why? She's taking too much from Beauty and the Beast.
She's stealing.
Yeah.
Next thing you know, there's going to be...
I guess on what level is Shrek similar to Beauty and the Beast, though?
Much different.
Similar. I mean, Shrek's more about Shrek, obviously.
Shrek is more about Shrek. The story of Shrek is that...
From his point of view.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's that he wants to find peace. And
Yeah.
love is almost an accidental thing along the way.
Accidentally in love.
Yes.
Yeah.
And for Beauty and the Beast, it's the whole story is he needs to find someone that will love him. And he needs to change.
He needs to find peace. Yeah,
he needs to change.
Yes.
And he changes inside, and then he can physically change.
Yes.
Is the story.
Yeah.
Shrek doesn't need to change.
No.
Shrek needs people to accept him.
Yes. I guess in the second movie, like when he becomes a prince, but yeah, no, it's different.
But then in that whole
thing,
I
guess Beauty and the Beast is more similar to Phantom then a little bit.
I don't know Phantoms, but let me speak to Shrek 2. Shrek 2 is more about he learns that he should not change for someone. He should be himself.
Yeah.
So I would say it's almost the opposite points of view of Beauty and the Beast.
Yeah.
But the Beast needed to change. The Beast was a monster. Shrek wasn't hurting anyone.
Yes.
People hated him for existing.
Casted a spell on. Yeah.
People hated Shrek for existing.
Yeah.
The Beast was a monster.
The Beast got turned into a beast
because he was so evil.
Yeah.
Shrek just was born, and people wanted to kill him with pitchforks.
Yeah.
It's the exact opposite story.
Yeah.
So, but we'll read those chapters. That's what it is, folks.
Not any horniness yet.
Not any horniness. I'm so sorry. I hope that you enjoyed, though, hearing a little bit about this. Beautiful. All right, Robbie. Thank you all for subscribing to the Patreon. It truly means the world to us. I don't know if we should take a break in between weeks of this, or...
Yeah, I don't know. We could do a question Maybe we do a question episode.
Because not everyone's going to want to hear this every week. So maybe next week we take off of A Court in Thorn and Roses, so then you have another week.
Okay.
Does that sound good?
I don't know if that helps my situation, but
all right. So let's do one more week, and we'll do first half of the episode about something else, and then the horny.
Okay. I'm down with that.
Beautiful.
I'll text you too throughout the week, and hopefully I finish. Maybe we can go more than just 10.
No.
Maybe we could finish.
I have other stuff to do.
Oh, you have other stuff to do. So how long does it take you to read?
It took me about 4 hours.
Oh, all right. So it does take a long time.
Yeah, it took me a long time.
4 hours.
That's why I'm like, no, I'm not.
Okay, all right. I wasn't sure.
Read the
You're talking
parts.
your sister reads it in a day. I'm like,
I'm not smart.
Okay. Okay, I wasn't. You're saying it's an easy read, whatever. I'm like, all right, if I get on a roll, do you want to just go through it?
I don't have time for a roll.
Okay, we don't have to do that. All right, that's fine. I clearly don't either. So.
He doesn't. He reads 12 sentences and he goes, "This week, can I text you during the week so we can read more?" No, absolutely not.
Okay, we'll do the 10 chapters and then we won't have to dedicate the whole episode to it.
No, we won't.
We'll be on the same page. We'll have both read it. You don't have to explain it to me.
And it'll be quicker.
Yes.
Beautiful. All right, Rob. Thank you all for subscribing to the Patreon. We love that so much. Beautiful, Robbie. Hit the music.
Boom.